different dynamic to a marriage in that you've been so focused on taking care of yourself, coming from being single to then taking on somebody else who is, you want to be thoughtful and try and being considerate of another person. So you think about this one person, try and focus on that other person all the time. And then you introduce a child, and the spouse, the husband and wife, focus on the child. I think the biggest thing for us has been that we have tried to maintain the relationship between the two of us as well as the relationship between ourselves and our daughter. And how we do that, whether it's going out on dates and doing those kinds of things, making sure that we're, finding ways and time, no matter where we are at, be close to each other. It certainly helps. I think one of the most important things, and I think honestly, is that a husband and wife can actually get away, and that doesn't have to be without a child, but they can actually just remove themselves from the daily thing. So whether it be, taking a night and going to, taking a 3-day weekend and going off somewhere, or just figuring out that, okay, well, it's Friday night, let's, or it's Monday night. It's Monday night, let's turn off all the phones and let's not worry about anything else. Let's just focus on, the things that we have going on for tonight. I think those are some of the things that have been effective for us.
I think we traveled a lot. We go places, before we had Eliza, after we had her, and we've found vacations where we've left her here. I think those are some of the best times we've had too. Now it's a little bit trickier to do that, to arrange for like a babysitter for long term, or for a longer amount of time. But I think that's a really good thing too. Or people, I know, always designate a night to go out. They go out every Friday night, and I think things like that are really good. So you're spending time together without your kids. I think that's important because you spend plenty of time with your kids throughout the week, so I think it's important to take time for yourselves too.
Okay. Along those same lines, do you have maybe like a favorite activity you do as a family or as a couple?
We like to travel. We don't do this as much anymore, but we like boating. We used to go out on the boat. Like being outside together. Even just staying inside. Sometimes we watch the Jazz games, or for me, it doesn't need to be anything huge or extravagant. I think just the time that you spend together. It doesn't always need to be a huge production. It can just be simple things like watching a movie or watching a ball game or going for a walk. Just I think it's about the time.
Gone through all the questions.
There was one I wanted to ask. What's the hardest thing that you guys have had to deal with together, and how did you get through it?
Right.
I definitely think it's what Eliza's going through. It has a tremendous effect on every aspect of our lives, and it's hard to. I don't know if you discussed what Eliza's going through. Have you?
Briefly.
You told me. I know it's a rare disease. Something.
MLD.
MLD. That's what. That's.
Yeah. Eliza, for just a little bit of background, Eliza was diagnosed a year and a half ago with a rare neurological disease, a terminal disease, and it has taken all of everything that we saw her gain up until the age of about 2, and it's completely taken it away from her. itself will not claim her life. It will be the cause of the decline and eventually her death. And it's really indescribable. There's I mean, we could talk for hours and hours about the things that you might hear people go through when they deal with a child and a disease. And by no means do I discount any of the diseases out there where parents are faced with diagnoses that put their children in, that create a situation where their child has to lead a different life, as opposed to having, a terminal disease. But it puts a tremendous amount of stress on every relationship, and so it's been I really think that those first 3.5 years that we had together as a couple without a child has carried us through some of these times. We know enough about each other to know how to know about our true values, and those are strongly rooted in back to what we said in the beliefs that we have as far as eternal families. And that's really what has carried us through as a couple, because we know that the time that we have with our daughter is short, at least here on this earth, and we know that there will be a day when we see her again. That's forthcoming. But it really is indescribable to be able to talk about the things that it stresses and pressure that you feel as a couple, because there's the underlying notion that that your daughter is going to die. She is going to be taken by this disease, and so there's a lot of I would say that even recently there hasn't been a lot of discussion about we put every effort into making sure that she's comfortable, and in doing so, I know that Nikki spends every waking hour taking care of her, and I try and find the right times to insert myself, but I know that there's a lot of things that I can't do that she can, because of the time and effort that she puts into it on a daily basis. But I think through it all, we've gained a better understanding of just how much I've gained a better understanding of just how much I love my wife, and just how much, what kind of mother she is, and what kind of sacrifices she has made for our family. I would say that by far and away, this is the hardest thing. This is the hardest thing. I'll speak for myself, but this is the hardest thing I've ever done, whether it be being married or not being married. And it complicates things being married, only because I concern myself with not only my daughter but also my wife and her well-being. So there's this exponential factor to the concerns and stresses that are out there.
When you guys found out about her disease and realized that it was genetic, how did you go forward? Did you immediately think about having future children, or did you just kind of put everything on hold that you'd planned to do, or how did you kind of move to the next step?
Trying to remember. We wanted more children even before. We kind of felt like we were ready for more children about the time we found out about Eliza, but with everything happening, we kind of put it on the back burner a little bit. But I think we were told fairly early that there were other options, and that it was possible to do in vitro with all this genetic testing and work around it, and that always seemed like the best option to us, I think, at least to begin with. I don't know, for me felt like, even though adoption, and there's so many great options out there, but with what we were dealing with, if we'd gone ahead and adopted, who knows? It's kind of a crapshoot too, because you don't know what you're getting genetically either. So we could have adopted, but then maybe you're trading in one problem for another. And we both felt good about trying this in vitro. I think we both kind of agreed that if it didn't work the first time, that maybe we would look at other ways to go, because it's stressful and emotional and expensive. But I think we both just felt like it was something we should try at least. So.
How long did that process take?
We first talked to the doctor about a year ago. So it took a long time. It took a while. You have to get so many different people involved, all, different parts of the country. So it took a while to get everybody on the same page. It was really frustrating.
Could you explain, like, maybe briefly what exactly the disease does?
Sure. The disease is called metachromatic leukodystrophy, and as I said before, it's a recessive, the recessive genetic disorder. So Nikki's recessive gene and my recessive gene had to get together, and there's a very small percentage chance that that happens alone. And then on top of that, there's a 1 in 4 chance that Eliza would actually have the disease. So all of those things kind of aligned, and the disease itself is considered a white matter disease of the brain.